Hi guys, we're back. Another Apex World on air show for dummies. Again with Dimitri. He's producing stuff all the time. It's not my fault. Today we talk about your new project, APE. I think Apex Project I, you called it, right? So you like abbreviations? Martin would
Yes, very much.
Martin loves abbreviations. So what we want to do?
Apex itself is also an abbreviation.
Yeah,
right?
sure. But you know, so what we do in this Dummies show is we show new solutions, new products. The last one we did with Matt with his new commercially supported plugin, and we did one with Amy with you. So whenever there is something out there, Apex relevant, a product, dish, solution, doesn't have to be a product, but something that is, I would say, relevant for the community. And it's of course a technical solution. There are a lot of people out there who just maybe get the news, oh, there's something new, and maybe read the headline and said, well, do I need it? I don't know, I don't understand it now, I have no time, and I get a call and this is it. And they don't want to spend time reading complicated blog posts. You're writing great blog posts, by the way, it's not. But in general, right, people tending, all the developers are tending to explain their solutions in a very technical way. like the doctors are always speaking in Latin, and because this is how they raised. So therefore, this is where I come into place and try to translate it to the real people language. And I haven't looked at the product, and so I'm asking these dummy questions, therefore Apex World for Dummies, so that all you people need is watch this video, let it run, and you get a good overview what you can expect. Oh, that's
sure.
All right, let's get into it. Want to share your screen and show what you've got?
Okay, so share screen. So here, so yeah, this was the blog post.
So of course there's a blog post out because Dimitri is writing a blog post whenever he's having dinner. I don't know.
No, when I'm passionate about something, and I'm really passionate about this product, so
this means you're not passionate about your cooking.
I don't cook that much, but I love cooking. But yeah, so here's the website, but let me show the product. And in my blog post, I explained that I explained it as like Apex Project I is a tool that lives with your project whenever you do an Apex project. But like I described it as 3 different tools, actually: an automation documentation generator, a monitoring tool, and a quality assurance tool. But let me just go in there and tell you, like, whenever.
So it is obviously an Apex application, right?
It's 100% Apex application, and like we wrote a lot of tools, or we use a lot of tools next to whenever we do a project, and I always had the feeling, okay, we start again, and or we are reusing something, and then we are starting it again, and we want to enhance it, and then like I had enough of that. I just wanted like an application which gave me an overview of all the projects that were going on, but not from like a project management point of view, because like you can use a lesson stack for that, but like really like what is going on in my Apex instance.
Okay, so stop before we go on into the explaining. So this is an Apex application, and you install it in your workspace, do you? Is this a workspace?
Yeah, so you have, it's basically, it's an Apex application, plain Apex application. You install it in a workspace. There are some tables supporting objects that come with it, but that's about it. So, and the Apex application, it's looking at the Apex metadata, if you want. So it's looking at what's going on in your either workspace, if you have only access to that workspace, or in the entire instance, if you have this special role, Apex administrator read-only role, then
okay,
Ape
this is where what is interesting for me. So if I have 20 workspaces, do I have to install this in 20 different workspaces to make this work? No. Where do you install it then?
You can either set up a new workspace and just install it there and give this special role, or
wait, what do you mean a special role? Who gives me a special role?
So the Apex administrator role is a special role that comes with Apex. That normally Apex is multi-tenant, or like it's limited to a view in your workspace. But with this role, you can view across workspaces.
Is it something the guy with the internal password can assign me, or he has to install it? Is the guy who has internal rights has to install it, or is it something a DBA has to do?
Yeah, a DBA, or like a person with DBA rights would give you this grant. Like you can compare it actually to a DBA grant, like, but then the DBA is on the database level, whereas the Apex administrator role, and you have a read-only role, which we want. This is purely for your Apex applications.
So is this
actually not many people know about this.
No, I don't.
Really useful.
I don't. This is why I'm asking. It's not a stupid question.
Yeah, like
sometimes I'm asking question I actually know, but I'm asking it for you guys. This is now I'm not playing dumb. I haven't heard of this role ever, so therefore I'm really asking for it. So, and because we're always working at clients, and so the question is, who do I really get this role? This is a special. You say this is a special database role provided from Apex?
Yes.
Okay, and then I can and my workspace can given this database role.
Yeah, if you have that database role, basically what is in this Apex application, in the Apex views. So when it queries the Apex metadata, so when you do select star from Apex application, you would normally see just the applications in your workspace.
Yes.
If you have that role, or you're a sys user, then you see all the applications in all the workspaces.
In all your instance.
Yes. So if, for example, Siemens would tell you, Jürgen, what's going on with all the Apex applications inside Siemens? How would you start with that?
They're growing. They are amazing.
Yeah,
tell me something
because
new.
You're doing such a wonderful job. So then you lost like what is going on. So this is where.
No, but we have 1,000 applications with a lot of workspaces. Yeah, that's true.
But just with that role, you would either be able to query it, or you could use APE, and APE would give you an overview of that.
All right. Okay. So the first thing is you install it in your current workspace or in a separate workspace. If you say, oh, we have 20 of them, so we just have this workspace with this one application in it, and only a few people can access it. Right.
So we, for example, internally, we have it in our United Codes workspace, which can see across everything. But then for a specific project where we work, for example, with a few people on, we also install APE just in that. And that has only, so for example, here, what I'm showing here is in this workspace, in the zero workspace.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is where we install it. So here, I don't see all the other.
Okay, this is a good use case. So you install it in, let's say, in one workspace where only the database or the app, let's say the Apex developers, administrator guys can see everything. The guys who can also access different workspaces, let's put it that way. Otherwise, you don't want to give them access to see what the other people are doing, and which you shouldn't. So you have this in this one workspace, and a few guys can see the whole instance settings and all the instance applications. And additionally, you can install it in your personal workspace where you see your application. It doesn't,
Yes.
it works both ways.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. You can install as many times as you want, like in different workspaces if you want.
Okay.
And
okay, now I'm all in.
Okay, so yeah, this is what you see here on the instance level, but again, like here it's just one workspace that we see. If I had it with the special role, I would see all the workspaces. But already from this,
when you click on, is this a tab, instance, workspace, or?
Yeah, this is a tab. Like you have the instance tab, you have a workspace tab. But
okay.
in this case, it would be the same.
It's the same because you installed it in your workspace, so it's the same data. Otherwise, I would simply see more workspaces with the instance.
Exactly, I would see all the workspaces here. So because I thought like many people who listen to the show, they are Apex developers.
Yep.
So for them, it makes probably more sense to focus a bit on their current project, and which APE can do really well. So already from this, like by using APE, I saw many different things that I did wrong or that I wasn't aware of. So for example, already from this screen, it's a very basic screen, right? Like there's not much going on, you might think.
Explain it to me.
Explain
the regions.
Yeah, so here the key figures by day. So the idea here is that, let's say you go in every day or every 3 days or every week, you see quickly, how am I doing compared to yesterday? So if you suddenly have a lot more errors, like here, 93% more errors than the day before, what's going on? Maybe I installed a new application and suddenly like my average elapsed time is going really bad and my error count goes really bad. So it gives you an idea what happened to yesterday. So that's just here. Here it becomes quite interesting.
And it's total pages. Okay. So meaning the number in parentheses, meaning it went up from yesterday, always compared to yesterday.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So you can switch it here by weekly but like typically this is the use case, and instead of you remembering how was it yesterday, we do actually a calculation to see, okay, how was it yesterday, how is it today, are you doing good or bad?
All right, but we're talking about workspace level, meaning all my 20 applications in my workspace.
Yeah, so I'm now a developer, or like I'm the project manager for this application. Like Apex itself exists out of like, what is it, 15 different applications. So your project at Siemens might exist out of 5 different Apex applications, which in total are one project.
Can you drill it down to the application level?
Yeah. So this is what we are going to do now. So here on the workspace level, I see the number of errors. I see how many people there are using this, how many sessions there are, page views, the elapsed time, and the last access time. And I can now change here by filter. So this is by default, it's like 7 days, but I can change it. I can give me everything like that. And then I see, okay, 104,000 page views by 24 different users. Here I see my performances by day, for example. So in the weekend, there's not much. Let me put it back how it was, like 7 days, last 7 days. I need to zoom in again a bit. Oh. So what I wanted, 18.15. So like here, what you can see is, okay, how am I doing by day? And you can see, okay, they don't use the app in the weekend. How many people are actually using the application by day? And if I look now a bit further,
when you
like
say
this
application, we always have to think of all the applications in the workspace.
Yeah, because
You
we are
should
now
rather
looking at the
mm-hmm.
workspace or even
Mm-hmm.
at the instance. So how is my instance being used?
Mm-hmm.
So here you see clearly, like there's a cycle, right? Like during the weekend, people don't work. Here was an exception. Like you can drill down into that if you want. Average load times here, for example, I see what happened here. Something went going on with my database. And here as well, like error count, like why do I have a spike here in number of errors? So I can now look at those different things. Here, the number of sessions, like unique sessions, 100, 8,000 page views, like. And then here I see the last.
How do you count the sessions, by the way? I mean, you know, how do you know if this is an active session? You know what I mean? So because I had this problem recently to figure out how many parallel sessions do we have open in the database, which is a very hard task to find out. Carsten helped me with that. You know, there's a kind of formula. So if you say session count, what do you count as a session?
So here's unique sessions. So when people log in and they like you have a new session ID actually.
And when is it expired? So when do you not count it anymore?
When there's no activity anymore. Like we count the number of session IDs that were generated by this application after a login.
All right. So, and this session is valid 12 hours, let's say, right? So it's basically the logins.
Yeah, but we are not. Yeah, we are not counting how long were you using the session. So you might use the same session. It would just be one session for us here in this view.
And we're talking about regular Apex session IDs, meaning if you are in the application and you're not logging out, you're just closing the browser, you will be count for the next 12 hours as long as your session expiry date is running. And then, okay. Yeah, just wanted to know because I had this issue recently.
Okay. Yeah, and then here we see last activity on the instance. So who's like Lisbeth is using this instance or is logged in. Like she had some activity 1 minute, 39 seconds ago. There was like, I use this view if I have to update Apex or I have to do a patch. I can see if people are, what's going on my instance, if people were using the AOP dashboard or whatever. So this gives me a view when is a good time, for example, to do an upgrade or something like that. And with any of those, you can drill down. So you can get more details, or you can do your own statistic. This is an interactive report, so you can do whatever you want with it.
So what do you, the problem is, what I see right now is that so that the company say, hey, our people get tracked if they work or not. Can you disable this tracking thing? Because we also have the same thing with the Apex logging mechanism, right? Where they finally gave us the opportunity to shut it down. That because there's a lot of, in Germany at least, I don't know where it's in the rest of the world, but they are very, cautious if you can track a guy if he's doing something, or they say, well, you didn't work the whole day, or you didn't open the application the whole day, and this is forbidden by law. Right? It's not. You cannot. You shouldn't be able to track your employees.
Yeah.
So this data shouldn't exist, basically.
Yeah, but so
you can do it on a anonymous level, saying user 1, user 2, user 3, right? That's fine. But if you see the Apex user, well, this is a problem for the unions in Germany.
Okay.
Very strong. Just saying.
No, but it's true. But Ape only visualize what's already there, right?
Yeah, I know.
So
and
what we make it really easy for people to see things that Apex is already doing. So if you didn't shut it down on the Apex level, yeah, it's there, and we make it visible.
So you say I can shut it down on the Apex level, then it's not showing.
Oh, I don't know. I never have done that.
Yeah.
So but
think of that.
It's a good suggestion of you.
Yeah.
Like we could anonymize like the Apex user, for example.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't have a problem, and you would still have the benefit of seeing the different things.
One thing is to have stuff like that in a repository, tables in a database. The other thing is, I know, or you have to go into the development tool and stuff like that. But if it's there, that prominent in an application where you can everybody can invoke it. Not everybody, but this is a different story. And I see if a guy from the union sees that, and there's an audit, and they say, okay, let me see all the applications you have, and he's clicking. So when I show him all my business applications, said okay. And if I show him this thing and said project I would say, oh, that sounds interesting to me. Let me see what you know, what you shouldn't know, right? And so you should think about circumvent that.
You can decide where you install Ape, right? You can do it in production, you can do it in test, you can do it in development.
Well, production makes no sense, right? Production makes 100% sense. Everything else is nonsense. I mean,
so
basically,
I'll come back to that.
Okay,
but let's zoom in. So I click now on the workspace. So now I come into the workspace tab. If you want, I see all the applications. I have only one application in this workspace.
What is project for you?
So a project is, if I click on this, so I can create a project. Like Seer is my project. And I can have some details.
Hold on. The project is something you creating as a thing in your Ape application. Has no equivalent with the Apex. A project is not a workspace. What is a project?
So a project is we wanted to keep track of our own projects. So you give your project a name. You can even do like a goal, requirement, start date, end date, whatever, where the location is to version control. That's about it. And then you assign applications to this project. I assigned this application to this project, and you can assign multiple. Like
sure, makes sense.
I have only one, but like I can assign a different one.
Let's say we decide to make a new Apex. Apex 2.0 and so we probably have also ending up with 15 different applications for this one Apex builder, right? And we would assign the word Apex as a project, and then you would assign these 15 applications into
Apex
this
builder,
project.
SQL workshop.
Exactly.
You would do exactly. And then here you can have some files and the database schemas that are being used by this project. So the whole idea you're going to.
So this means, hold on. This means if you have different parsing schemas, you also add the parsing schemas for these applications. You add it to the project.
Yes. Like it would look at the workspace, and it would check which parsing schemes or which schemes are attached to it, and it would list this.
Oh, automatically. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I don't have to sign it.
Okay.
So if one application has 3 different parsing schemas,
you would see them all.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So I don't want to go into this project, but you're good in seeing the different components. But so that's there, and the whole idea with this project thing is, if something happens to me, and like my colleagues
God forbid that something is happening to you, because then we have a problem with AOP and
no, like there are other people doing this now, and this is why I don't want to be like, how do you say that, with this the bus running over you?
Yeah,
like
get
people
hit by
still
a bus.
find hit by a bus. Like you want your company to survive, right? So by using this, at least for your Apex applications, you just go in here, you see all the projects, you see the applications that are assigned to the project, and it should be quite straightforward how to deal with the different things. But so let me, oh, I already drilled down. So we went from the instance level to the workspace level, which was here. It's still the same information. And now we can drill down even further. So now we are going into the application, and now we see, okay, who's the top user of this application? And this is not to track, like, oh,
I know
Heel is better than Polo and like using this application. It's more like you like, for example, your customer asks,
Niels
this?
Won't be happy if he sees that he is on, I don't know, on 7th, 8th place.
Well, he might be the manager, right?
But
only checking in from time to time. Those people have different roles, and you can actually see very well what every person is going to do. And I'll come back to this in a moment. But it's interesting for me. I'm coming into like a customer, and they say, okay, can you take over this application? This and this has to be done. Like it was built by another consulting company. I have to deal with it now. I have no clue. Like, by using this, I see, okay, if I need to know something, I should contact Michiel because he's the top user. He's using this application, and I see the pages here, so I can now drill down further in the pages. But let me first like show a bit what is on this screen. So I see the pages. I see, okay, the number of errors that are happening on the page, how many people are using this page. Like you get an idea which pages are most popular and how they are doing. So if I see, for example, 68 errors, I should maybe look into this page, what is going on here. But before I'm doing that, let me go in here. The same I explained on the instance, we have on the page level too. So performance is by day, but you see it here for the pages that you have. So if I say like, I want to focus on a certain page, or like those two pages, contracts, and this one, I want to see what's going on here. So I see, okay, how many users are using this? Oh, there's a spike in this error thing. So I can more visually look how our page is being used, right? And here we have key figures again. And then here, latest activity, again, you can drill down into those things. We made the drill down and all those different things. But this it's really like, it's a killer feature, if you want, for developers. Like it shows this application, which object dependencies does it have? So which database objects are being used by this application? And I'm using now different roles. Like as a project manager, I just want to see like an overview. As a developer, I really want to know which objects are being used by my application. And you can do compute dependency objects in Apex.
Yes.
But so Ape is doing this for you. And like here it says like when was last calculated, you can calculate again. But it's going much farther than what Apex is doing. If it's using a package, let's call Ape utils package, and Ape utils package is using different tables, which are not used by the Apex application directly. Like Apex won't show it to you. We show it. Like Ape is showing to you. Like we call this second level dependencies. And you can drill down into this, and you see, okay, this package is being used. So here, this view, what is actually referenced object inside this view, and you see that here. So this took a bit of time to build that. And of course, it's only for developers, right? Like,
yeah, sure.
They're interested in that. And then here we have recent errors. So a funny.
And it should, to be honest, I mean, I don't see a project manager really using that. I see it 95-ish% for the developers who care or are responsible for the project, for the developers, right? And then using it basically as a reporting tool, and there is also this like you had the dashboard in the front for non-developer project managers who would like to have a look, right?
A holistic view.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And then here you have the recent errors. So here I have like a story where we got an email and people said like, oh, something is not working. And of course they don't give you any detail. And okay, so actually Jackie had to deal with this. So she went into APE. She looked at recent errors. She sees, oh yeah, this person actually had an error. It just happened on this page. And then you can go to the page.
Hold on. If I where do you retrieve the errors from?
So Apex is storing the errors too.
These are the internal errors. So let's say if you use Logger, if you, for example, to logging all your your logging output and also the errors. So when is Apex actually storing an error into an internal table and when not?
I think whenever there's an error happening, Apex is storing that error. But yeah, I didn't look into like when Apex is doing that.
Let's say I have a regular procedure and I say, okay, when others than null, which I saw every now and then.
You won't see it then, right?
You won't see it then, right? But if you say, but if you log it out and say, well, when others than logger.log, bullshit. And then this Apex will never get that, right?
No.
It's only if Apex is if Apex is showing this error message, this weird error message in this pop-up window.
Yes, exactly. And also like I would need to check the error handling function if that would influence this view as well.
Yeah, if you handle it within the error handling function, saying, because for the people who know that, you can hook yourself into the error handling of Apex. So whenever there's an error happening inside Apex, it's called a routine is called, which you can say, okay, call me first, and then I get all the information you get, Apex guys, and then I can handle it and can change the error messages to nice error messages, or I can deal with it and then say everything is fine. It looks like an error to you, but for me it's fine, and not proceeding this error anymore. So, but anyway, it would be great to have a module also to show
the logger
errors.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yeah,
it would be nice to have a region to say, oh, if you have logger installed, it's also there, and you can say, just show me level 2 errors.
Yeah, definitely. It's some improvement that we can make. But it's not only good if people don't give you enough information, it's also good to see like how are people using your application and what are they doing wrong. So here, for example, must numeric, and here's like this format mask. So we showed this error to the user. Like clearly we should improve our application to make it more obvious that they need to put a number in, or even like limit that they cannot put like an A in or whatever. So, and if I look here, for example, your session has expired. It's a stupid error.
It would be nice to filter stuff like that out as a, like a little checkbox saying, okay, session expired is not an error. It's because if it counts, if you get this, let's say you have a great application and you have 100 errors, and I said, well, this application has 100 errors. My product manager is coming, solve the problem. Right? And I say, hey, wait a minute, there's 95 of these 100 applications or sessions are expired. It's not an error, it's more a warning, or,
No, it's true, and we actually had the discussion internally what we are going to do with it. For now, we left it in because it also gives you an idea. Like people they leave this application running.
Yeah.
Or like they are opening something, they're going to lunch, coming back, and like their session expired. So it gives you an idea what to do with it.
Your expiration date of your session is too short. If this is happening very often, like you said, we have 1 or 2 hours and people say, well, I'm always having this application open and I would like to have it open for a day, for example, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and here, for example, they try to do unique
okay,
things.
You get all the errors. I get it.
Yeah, you get all the errors. So here, either you can drill down into a page here, or you can.
Let me show it.
So let's just click on this page, and then we go to tree view. So here, this is anything for your Apex page. So what do we see here? Like we can enter help. We find it really important to put help straight in the application.
Can you explain me the tree? What is contracten? What does this mean? What is?
Okay, so I took a Dutch application. So here, this is administration. So this is the page groups that you have. So we use page groups.
Yeah, okay.
And
if you don't have page groups, it's just all on the root.
Exactly. So, or it's unassigned. We call it unassigned.
Unassigned.
We hope we find it a good practice to use page groups, but yeah, if you don't, then that's fine too.
People don't.
And you can actually drill down, like just like the builder, but this is really fast. Like I can see the branches, the buttons that are here, the dynamic actions that are here, the items. Sorry?
What tree are you using?
Oh, I think it's the Apex tree. Or
really?
I forgot actually which tree it is. I need to ask Lucas because I didn't build this tree myself. So.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you can also search in this tree. Yeah. So it's
can you give a nice overview, right, of the components of this page?
Yeah, and it's not like going into Page Designer, going to the next page, going into the next page. So really fast, you see what's on the page, and then here you have more info. Like when was it created? When was it last updated? You see the links. So which pages are linking to this page or
that's important.
This page? Yeah, exactly. Security we find important too, so we make that visible. Performance, again, like it's not only performance, but it's also, for example, errors, and you can see when things happened. For this page, you see the object dependencies again, and the errors that happened on this page. So that's and like you can quickly jump to like another page by clicking on this view.
Now do I have different colors for the links?
Yeah, so it's incoming and outgoing.
Oh yeah.
So what's coming in, what's coming out. So that's a bit this tree view, if you want. Let's see, yeah. So let's go to the entity relationship diagram. So I don't know about you, but I like to see the ERD. And what I mean with that is like, I want to see the tables because I think relational. So if I need to take over this application, I want to know, the first thing I typically do is I generate the ERD of the schema. So we do this and you can zoom into it. You can also, for example, highlight this page and see, okay, this, or not this page, like this object, and this object is, there's a foreign key relationship here, and this is using those tables. So really quickly, if I need to, for example, change this table, I can highlight the table here, and I see, okay, the impact is on all those tables. So nice. I can, and I can zoom in, and I can scroll like a bit more. You can also print it if you have a really big printer. But what's even nicer, Jürgen?
A plotter. You need to have a plotter, guys. The thing who is, really using pens for drawing. Not a printer anymore. Or you could ask Adrian to create a 3D model.
yeah, that's true.
Then you can walk inside your tables.
Well, that's I have a story about that, but So, but I double clicked on this. So my idea is always like, whenever I want to whenever I need to review an application or build an application, I start from the ERD or I start from the Apex application. So in this case, we start from the ERD. I double click on a table and straight away, I get some information. So how many rows are there in this table? Like, how does this table look like? Which modifications, so how, like inserts, updates happened? Which constraints are there? And this is more in a graphical way. I see the relationships and indexes that are on this table. And then here, the dependencies. So this table is being used by this Apex page, page 13, page 22. So I see, and it's used by a region. This is in a page validation, this table is being called. Again, for this, I see the dependencies. So if I would change this table, I see, okay, this view is going to be impacted. This package is going to be impacted. And I see some sample data here of this table. So really fast, I can click on, like, double click here. It's going to do some calculations and it shows me information of this table.
Nice.
So that's one way. You can also do it the other way. So we go here in page flow. So here we generate.
Hold on, I'm go back. So okay, this was too fast. You go from this tab.
Okay, so I
relationship.
Yeah, so here we go we start from the data model, we go up. So we see the data model. We want more information based on the objects that we have here.
Just my camera, then I can lay down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. All right, I get that. Okay, then okay, I get this.
And then we want to do it the other way. So if I look at an application, I want to see what's behind this application. So here I see, okay, there are many pages in this application. We have page groups again. So here are the different page groups. So I can know, let's zoom in. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So this is administration. So I have many administration tables. The rows show me like the links. I can go from this page to that page in different ways. The thickness of the link of the row is, or of the arrow is how many like ways you can go to that page. For example, through a breadcrumb or through a list or through a button or branch, like it's calculating all that.
So it's not counting basically real user data, how many people are jumping from this page to the other page. It's just how it is designed.
Yes, this is absolutely this technical thing. Yeah. So here, now I can also, so on the right,
it would be also a nice feature, right? Just to see what people are really using and seeing.
Jürgen, we didn't do all the tabs yet. So
okay.
So I'm
into it.
Okay, so I'm highlighting just a few page groups now. But let's say I want to highlight a page. So let's say, what is here? Contract. Well, I don't know if I have payments here. Let me just take everything again. And it's super fast to generate your overview of your application, how it's designed. Okay, so this one. So it highlights, I went highlight page, it highlights this one here, and then it shows, like, it highlights in green and in red again, like what's going there or what's going out of that page. So I can zoom in into that and I see the branch, like this is a really popular page. So I have a lot of things, but you can see here the buttons, like button cancel, we go to a different page. Now I can double click on this page and now I go from top to bottom. So I see the different components that are on this page. I see the object dependencies. So which database objects are being used by this page.
So are we back on this? Are we back on this detail page we already have been from, from the other tab?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So it's basically the same information.
Only a different approach, a different direction.
Yeah. Okay, so, and this was inspired by, like Patrick Wolf did in, I think, 2007
I remember.
or 7, 8.
Yeah, I loved
like
it.
a graphis graph. Like I really liked it. So we wanted to have
and
something
suddenly it vanished. Somehow it vanished into thin air. I have no idea where it ended up. It was an amazing thing, like the search engine, which he built into Apex. And so we hope that something like that was always also get into the Apex engine.
Yeah, and that was a bit the idea. And we did like, I think we did 15 iterations of trying different solutions. We even tried Graphis, but we wanted something in the browser, and then we came up with this. And it's really hard to visualize. Like, how are you going to visualize that you can still see the relations? And like, it's hard, but this is what we ended up with.
Okay. And this is always nice for project managers to say, okay, guys, this is our application. This is how it is used, right? You put this on a PowerPoint to impress your managers.
Yeah.
This is what.
But I also find it interesting to see.
Please
like,
give me more money, because this is what we have to maintain, right? This is a real thing. It's not just a little Apex application. This is look what we have.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But yeah, I find it interesting whenever I have to touch a page, like, again, what's going to be impacted. Okay, so now let's go to the next step here, session flow. This has never been done before, as far as I remember. So it might, I don't know if I click, but it might take a while to generate. So here, this is what you said. So what we try to do is visualize how people are using the application.
What I asked before, right?
Yeah, what you asked. See? Your vision. Like,
I know. Yeah. This is what I do. Visionary.
Yeah. Okay, so I think,
because this is often a thing, right? When you have old applications, people are asking, do we really have to maintain this? Out of the 100 pages, do we always have to change the user interface for all the 100 pages? And then it turns out, well, there we have this page. Nobody knew that, and nobody's using that anymore for years now.
Yeah. So it took a bit of time because I was looking at the last 30 days. Now I'm going to look at the last 7 days. So here we visualize how is your application being used. And let me zoom in a bit.
Looks like a racetrack to me.
Yeah, but like here you see home. So from home, where do they go most to? Like, okay, here login, that doesn't make sense, but probably from login to home, and then here is another. Oh, it's going back and forth to home. But here, so they use a lot, like page 24, and this is an application to track what was rented, like student homes which are rented out or not. So they look at availability probably. And the interesting thing is, like, this will change over time.
Not the way torturing a child. I'm near a playground, guys. It's I'm not torturing anybody. It's just let me close the window to prove it to you.
I didn't hear it even.
You didn't? So, it's very loud. I mean, I'm 50 meters away, but it's, you know, the wave going up, and you hear it very well all the time. I'm used to it.
But yeah, so here we try to visualize, okay, how are people, what is the flow of your application? How are people using it? So they go from ruimtes to here, then like there's something going on like that. Like you can follow that basically. This is a global overview of all those users together. So now let's say, okay, let's look at how Simon is using this application. So he's not doing much. Like Michiel, he was using the application a lot. So this is how Michiel is using this application. So he goes a lot to contracts, he goes a lot to payments, and like he's there. And Veronique, what is she doing? Like, she's not doing much. Ilse, okay, she looks like she is in charge of doing contracts.
This is exactly what this lawyer guys don't want to hear, right? This is exactly, they would say, no, this application is not gonna happen.
No, but Jürgen, what is really interesting here is I found ways in my applications. So I built an application and you give it to those people. And when you look at this, you see, okay, they use the application like this. Why do they do that? Why don't they go direct to my app, my page?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they always pass through like whatever this thing is here? Why don't they do it like direct to here? Like let's say that. So it gives me an idea of, okay, I screwed up my UI because people are using always, they are going to that page and then going back. Whereas I built this button there that they can do it directly. So it gives you a great view how people are actually using the application. Anyway, maybe you're not that.
Well, the thing is, it looks impressive. It's nice for PowerPoint, but I don't know if anybody's actually using that, right?
So my idea here, and we didn't have it ready in time, but so I want to say here, replay session of Pablo. So I would see highlighting. So I would see this, I would see that, I would see how he jumped from one page to the other. Mm-hmm. And if you then see like, okay, this is where he got an error. Like you can hook up a lot to this visual. So you see exactly how people are going and when errors, for example, are happening. We didn't visualize this yet, the errors on this thing, but my view on this is like, I want to replay a session. And let's say I have software as a service one, and I would like not see the real people, but it would give me a view, okay, people are using, this is what people are using, and they're using a lot this payment module, and they're not really using this. Why is that? Maybe it's too hard, maybe it's not interesting at all. Maybe we should focus more on our payment module for software as a service. Mm-hmm. So I like this view, and you actually asked for it. Like, again, it's a really hard visualization to do.
Yeah, I see it.
Really
I see it
hard.
Now. So it's easy to wish for something, but if it's suddenly there, you say, oops, this is what I wish for. It's like wishing for a pony, and then it's in your room. Say, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Well, again, we try different things, but okay. We don't want to make this call too long, I think. But so
people can always fast forward or stop. I'm not caring. I'm not making it faster. I want to make it complete. That's more important.
Okay. So the last step here is the documentation tab, and this was one of the first goals that I had. I don't like to write documentation. So if Apex can generate it for me, or APE can generate it for me, I'm all for that. So if I look at, let me take this one, for example. So I can click on any package or a function or procedure, and if you follow some guidelines, and the guidelines we put in a sample package here, like if you use Java doc, or if you use PL/SQL doc, or like just comments in your packages, APE will read out of that. So here, okay, it gives me the function, it tells me the parameters, the syntax. So I don't have to do anything. During my development, I followed a few guidelines, and the documentation is now being generated for me. So it's doing this for this. Here I use a different way of doing syntax. So it might be good or less good in picking up the comments. But if you follow some guidelines, then it will be really cool. The same here for your Apex application. So for every application, again, like we think it's important to use the help. This is why we made an APE possible to just edit the help there. But if you don't have it, that's fine too. Some general information, the components you use, the regions, the items, the buttons that are on the page, computation, like we went all in on this. And of course, like not everybody needs that. So you can just enable or disable with the flags here, what you want to see. So here, for example, object dependencies, statistics for this page.
And you can print it out with AOP.
Of course.
That's the most important thing, right? At the end, people still want to have a bunch of paper and say, okay, this is documentation, right? This is all we did. Can you show us the guidelines? What you should add into your source code to generate that?
So here's a package specification. So now it's like, it's reading all the comments like this. The next iteration will do like the PL/SQL or Javadoc syntax. But as many people are not following that and are using comments, this is what we first went with. So we want to capture all the comments.
There was this thing, I think Vincent did it once, this PL/MD doc thing.
Martin actually did it.
Martin did it, really?
Yeah. So
I just have Vincent in my mind because he helped me out once. Is this similar to that? Do you use, because we started to use this syntax in our application?
Yeah. So this I already discussed this with Martin, and initially we were going with that. Like it's a node application, and here we are doing everything with PL/SQL. So in the next version, we will support that syntax.
So you are basically having different syntax styles and say, okay, I'm documenting all my stuff with syntax A, B, C. And then you just set a switch and say, okay, I'm using this PL/MD doc documentation. I'm using this Javadoc notation. I'm using PL/doc, whatever there is out there. Okay, get it.
Yeah, or we want to make it even smarter that it just recognizes the syntax that you use.
What?
Because,
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have done some tests with that, but we first went with the Node app, but then you would need to have a server component, and I don't really want that. So now it's just an Apex application. That's it, and everything is in there. Everything is PL/SQL driven as well, so it's.
But to use this documentation, so you need to document it now. So now you have your own documentation style. Is this true? So what do you?
No, so we use PL/SQL/MD-doc. We use that syntax, for example, for AOP. We use that too.
Okay, so
we generate the whole documentation like that.
PL/MD-doc is fine. The syntax PL/MD-doc syntax is fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's perfect. It's perfect.
So you can use it right now.
With that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what we also use. Sorry, you don't have to. If you don't have any dates, I'm fine. You don't have to push. What I also use now these days is that I'm using the documentation or the comments into a log. Right?
Okay,
Because I always say, well, you can write. So this is what we decided at Siemens once, that you want to see what's happening, not only having the logging output, and additionally you need to understand the source code, but for an external guy or somebody who is monitoring that, he should also see the steps what are happening, and simply log it out. So documentation or commenting in the source code is always used with logger, and the fine thing is that in the SQL developer, the whole logger syntax is grayed out. So it also looks like a comment in my source code. And this is where I came up with the idea and say, well, if this is already looking like a comment grayed out in the SQL developer, why don't we just, instead of having this dash comment thing, just put it out onto logger, because you want to see it there anyway if something is
right?
I agree. This would be maybe just very, very fancy request, but you know,
No, it's good. Like I like feedback, and like, yeah, we had to do some scope. What is it? Scope creep at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Like we have many more ideas, like more on the
This is a
quality
starting.
assurance thing.
There's a lot of
Exactly.
different modules where you can, put a lot of work into it and make, a lot of different versions out of it.
Mm-hmm. And I want to show one more thing. Let me log into Apex here. So I'm just logging into Apex. So, and what I want to do is, let me drag that out, move this to the right, and then my Apex application to the left. Okay. Let me go back to the tree view, because there is one thing, and you didn't ask me the question, but there's this eye thing, and it says live.
I just saw this it looked like a logo to me.
Yeah, so when you click on this, like, it's doing something nice, I think. So I'm going into my application, and I'm now in Page Designer, and did you see what happened? So on the right, this live thing just gave me the information of this page. So I can jump up, I can work here in Page Designer. Of course, I have a small monitor now, but the idea here is that, like, you can work in your application, and Apex Project I, or APE, is your second screen. So let's say I'm going to work on this page here. So here, straight away, I see, okay, I get some information, was actually created in 2016. The links are here, performance is here. The errors that are happening on this page is this, and those are the object dependencies that I have on this page.
Great, interesting. Change request. Can I, or maybe it's already there. Can I show and hide different regions so that I see? I always want to see the errors and another region.
Yeah, we didn't put it in there.
Yeah, this would be nice, because this is what you do. You go through the Apex application in your application builder and said, okay, check me all the security and the errors, right? And then you click through, and you always want to see these two regions, and not to scroll down every time, scroll down.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, we will add that here. It's a very good suggestion. But yeah, that's something we worked on for a bit too on this.
So you have to use the same browser, or how is it working?
So this is using an extension for Firefox and for Chrome. So we built a browser plugin. Yeah, and this broadcasts basically which page you're on here to APE. So we can render that page, or we can read the metadata of that page. So yeah, that's what's happening. It's a browser plugin for Chrome and for Firefox. So we only have those. Let me stop share so I see it a bit bigger.
Here you are again. That's what you like, right? You like to write new applications.
I like to bring ideas to life. Yeah. So, and this was one idea. So that's
okay. Let's talk about money. You stop share.
I can share again. I just wanted to see if you were still there. No, so money-wise, yeah, we didn't make it. Well, there's one. We made it free for personal use, so you can install it in one workspace, one database. So any home project you have, or like you want to test it, there you have it. It's there for free. All the functionalities are there. Except for the documentation generation with ALP. If you want to use it in a professional environment, it's 2,500 euro, and this is a yearly price. And you can install it in up to 4 databases. So development, test, QA, production if you want, but unlimited workspaces. So for most companies, like one license would be sufficient.
Okay. And the free license, so you can documentation generation mean you cannot print it out, you cannot generate it.
No, like it's there, but in the future we are going to enhance the documentation generation. So at the moment we said, okay, like it's not included, but you have a tab there, but like you cannot generate the documentation with AOP. So the export
so you cannot print it
won't
out.
be there. You cannot print it out. So you can see the documentation, but you cannot print it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so that's the pricing that we do, and yeah, I think we try to make it accessible for everybody.
Yeah, agree. It's a great idea to give it away for free for people to play around, and you get a lot of feedback, right? Can you stop share screening? To stop the screen sharing? Yeah. Now here you are.
You again.
Yeah, nice. A lot of work.
Yeah, and it was not just me. Like we started this project like many years ago, and it has been in my head for a long time. And I was like developing, and then like getting Sunil involved. And like even if you look at the domain name, we had it in 2018 already, and I wanted to launch it then, but like it was too much. And then like we went all in like 8 months ago or something with a person full time. Like Lucas was working on this full time, and then I was working with him. So we finished it. But
great, a lot of stuff for making new versions out of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. Like we want like QA checks in there. You can use it for SLAs, for example. If we make that better, we want to include eCert. So your security checks are automatically done while you're on the page. Like there are many ideas and different directions we can go into with this, but we wanted to see what people think about it. And like it's very different from AOP. AOP, like almost everybody needs printing at some point. So it's necessary because like the manager requests, I want a document. So with APE, it's a bit different. Like I see it for different people. Like, so I see it for managers, but
it's not for managers.
A lot of developers.
It's only for developers. Developers are using it if they care, and using it for documentation generation is an interesting point, and and also checking the stats of your application.
Yeah, monitoring QA and documentation generation. This is what I said. But
managers should get a health check dashboard printed out for PowerPoint.
Yeah, but Jürgen, like I was called in this company, and they say, well, we installed Apex because like it was better than having access and like those different Excel sheets. But we have no idea who's using Apex at the moment. They literally didn't have an idea. The people who set it up, they left. Then there were some consulting people who set up a small project for like financial dashboard in Apex. Yeah, great. But they had no clue anymore. And there was like, so I got called in. This manager said like, I don't know, like we have this Apex thing. I don't even know which version it is. I don't have a login even. I don't know who's using it. So he had no clue. And like, of course, Apex is so small. So it goes from before it was in the SAP group. Then it went to infrastructure group. Then it went like different managers. So they lost track of everything. So I got in. I could just like change password, go into internal, see the workspaces, write down all the people who are using it. I didn't have to do this. APE did it for me. So you just install it. And so
that's true.
In that respect, like now the guy just goes in and he sees it. Which applications are still being used? Infrastructure, like support. first line support, they see it, right? Like.
Agree. Great. So any last words?
Thank you for having me. No, thank you for having me. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community.
Yeah,
you're not that much interviewed yourself. You're always interviewing other people who are coming out with
sure.
something.
I mean, that's my job. My job is to keep the news flowing. That's all, right? I'm just a back-end admin guy. And Twitter police constable, of course, you know.
Yeah. So you have your good days and your bad days, I guess.
No, there is a good cop and a bad cop. So
yeah,
I'm the bad cop. This is my role. So there are enough good cops out there. So you need a bad cop. That's my role.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, great. No. Love it. And yeah, looking forward to how this is evolving over time.
Yeah.
All right.
So
thanks.
Yeah, I would say to the people, go and try it.
Yeah, it's for free, right? It's for free. Just install it, check it out. It's definitely interesting, right? It won't hurt. And I see a potential definitely in the companies to have this overview because, right? If you're working in companies, they have different workspaces, and just focus on your application in your workspace, and we have 10 other workspaces. And as we know, if some guy in some other workspace having this brilliant idea to put 1 billion records into a collection, all other workspaces going down. We had this. This is a real life example. So everything is connected, as we know by now, through the virus. Everything is connected. So it's a good thing to have this overview.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.